What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Talk about Chris Olave. Chris Olave met with the media this week for the first time in a couple of weeks. And it kind of begs the question, what did the Saints need to do to get Chris Olave going? And a lot of his media availability was Olave being very honest about the fact that he feels as if he is slumping right now, right? And it kind of culminates in the play on Sunday where he has a ball in the end zone hit off of his face mask, right? And I love this quote. He says, "Man, that ish looked goofy. I knew right after the play, I was like, damn, that ish looked like ass." And yeah, I mean, look, he's right? And so you have the speeding drama, struggling on the field, the him and Derek Carr drama, and he is objectively in a slump. And what I wanted to pick your brain is, Jake, we think about slumps with more skill-based sports, right? A la a baseball, where for whatever reason a guy just can't find the ball or can't find the strike zone, or in basketball a three-point shooter suddenly can't hit. We don't think about slumps a lot in football. You know, like we don't really allow for it. No. I don't know if it's just because it's such a physical sport that your raw talent or physicality should be able to make up for maybe the skill portion struggling, but like we just never really talk about it.
There's no room for failure in football.
Yeah.
And there's other sports out there, and if you played that sport or if you're still in that sport, you coach that sport, you might roll your eyes at that, but just think about it. In baseball, right, how many times you have to be successful? Like even if you're a starting pitcher and you go 6 innings, you only give up 2 runs, right? Maybe you strike out 5. You had a good day.
Great day, yeah.
And at the plate, right, if you're batting 300, 3 out of 10, it's the old saying, right? Well, you had a really good stretch, okay? So like same thing in some other sports. But in football, if I'm the left tackle and we pass the ball 40 times and I win 38 out of 40, I had an awful day.
Yeah, if the 2 that you lose become sacks,
I had an awful day.
Everybody thinks you did.
I'm grading out like in the 30s on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
I won 38 out of my 40 individual matchups, but those 2 that I lost because they're heightened. You almost have to be perfect. That's just what it is. Like, I mean, quarterback, obviously, if you go 25 of 32, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, you still had a good day. But if I'm a receiver, if I drop one ball, man, I don't know. You see that drop he had? If I'm a running back, if I fumble one time, if I have 40 carries and I fumble one time, awful day.
That's true.
I mean, it's a game that I'm thinking about. I still think about fumbling Christmas in 2009. We won the game by like 35 points, right? That's just one of those things because it is a game for a majority of it where you have to be as close to perfect as you – like a DB. I could lock Taylor up all game long, but he beats me on a double move. 75 yards down the field, and Taylor had the day. I didn't have the day.
Yeah, look, well, and then what I love about that is I'm always talking about this, but DB and O-line are actually the same position in so many different ways, and that's just another way. So I guess all of this is to say that, yeah, look, athletes slump sometimes, and it's tough to refine that form. But I do like the fact that Chris Olave, I like a couple of things. First, I like the fact that Chris Olave is acknowledging it and saying, look, man, I'm not making any excuses. It seems like everything that can go wrong is going wrong right now. I just need to make a couple of big plays and break out of this thing, but I'm going to break out of this thing. Another thing that I liked hearing about, it sounds like Michael Thomas has been invaluable for Olave working through this downward swing and not coddling invaluable, not telling him just what he wants to hear, but according to Olave, keeping it real with him. And saying, look, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what you're doing right. This is how you're going to work through this. And, this is why you just got to keep on pushing and keep working through. And Mike Thomas isn't having any sort of overwhelmingly volume. He's not having an overwhelming volume year, Jake, but he's having a very consistent year.
Yeah.
He's consistently contributing game in and game out, and he's refining his own form. That's a man who had to go through a very extended downswing to now emerge once again as an NFL player the other side. And we've seen a more mature Michael Thomas emerge, more of a leader who's been saying all the right things publicly and apparently privately as well. And so I love seeing Elijah acknowledge it. I love seeing Michael Thomas help him through it. And what's wild to think about is even with this slump that Olave's in right now, You look at the stats halfway through the season, he's leading in catches, he's leading the team in yards, and he's on pace for an 88-catch, 1,000-yard season. So, like, if he can get it going again, then all of a sudden, with the emergence of Rashid Shaheed and Michael Thomas, and now Taysom Hill's role is becoming more and more clear and defined. Alvin Kamara's, again, the weapons. Chris Olave is the final piece of getting that weapon puzzle, the full battery of weapons to be firing on all cylinders.
He leads in targets as well with 77. The next closest would be Michael Thomas with 61. He's second on the team in big plays, 20-yard receptions. Only, Rashid Shaheed, because every reception he has
is 20 yards.
Is because he averages over 20 yards, by the way, 20.8 yards. And so, yes, to his standard, he's probably in a little bit of a slump. But really, like, when you dive into it, let's go back and look at it. Let's go back to the Tampa game. Okay, he, in that game, he was not himself, right? And he didn't play well. The team didn't play well. He has one catch for 4 yards. And then the next game against the Patriots, because of the way that score played out and the way the flow of that game went, you have 2 for 12. But he has come back and had moments. 7 for 96 against Houston, 7 for 57 against Jacksonville, and then he still had 5 for 46 against the Colts. And so it actually was worse a month ago.
Yeah.
And it's getting back to where it's going to be close. And if he catches the one that hits off his helmet, he's going to have
a touchdown. Is great.
And everybody's okay with it. So it's that one play. And again, Tampa Bay, New England, they were much worse situations, even though he did catch a touchdown in that New England game. So it's trending back in the right direction. But you can also say this. The offense is playing better since they've started to spread the football around.
Yes. Yeah,
and that part of it is what it is. And Chris Olave feels like someone who understands that as well. Has he played his best? No. But they're not going away from him because of that. They're just, the game plan right now for the Saints is better when they get Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara's back now. So he's got to, the offense is spreading the wealth. They have the ability to do so because they do really have a talented roster on that side.
And they're, somehow, despite it all, tied atop the NFC South with a uber-friendly schedule immediately ahead. So here's to hoping that Olave can find his way over these next few weeks. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.